Welcome everyone to my round 19 AFL fantasy review. This round, we had a pretty big shocker of a round. We dropped a heap of spots, and it was all because of George Hewett. So, yeah, so we dropped from 808 ranking to 1,231. So we dropped 400 spots. So all that ground I made up from probably round 16 onwards. Let's see, round 16. Yep, round 16 I was 1241. Made myself up to 800 within the space of three weeks, and then yeah, back up to 1231 because of Hewitt. So you guys might remember last week the trades that I planned were trading Petrarca here, who scored 69, to Steele, and then Anderson to Marshall. And yeah, I would have held Hewitt. So I probably would have had a full team of decent primo scores, or 80 plus primo scores, except for my rocks, obviously. I'll talk about them later. But yeah, so um, I did some calculations and trading Hewitt. So my trades this week were Hewitt to Sinclair, and then a downgrade from Ware to Hollands. Um, which yeah, obviously wasn't what I originally planned. When I heard the news of Hewitt going out, I had to think of something quickly. I didn't have much time to think over it, so yeah, I just did the most obvious trade. I couldn't do anything else. Like there were no other good defenders apart from Hall, who I did consider, but um, he I just thought he was way too risky considering last time he came back from injury he scored a two or something like that and was injured straight away. So yeah, and I had no DPP in my team either, so I couldn't move players around. I couldn't get in a forward or a mid or ruck instead, so I had to get a defender. I wish Stewart was back this week because I would have got him instead, but yeah, it's completely screwed up everything. So I was gonna get Stewart this week, but now I've got Sinclair. So yeah, Hewitt's completely just ruined all of my trade plans for the next few weeks. So I'm like from what I've planned, I'm basically a week behind now. Yeah, I could have gotten Himmelberg, but I didn't really consider him because I just because he's probably topped out in price, and I don't want to take a risk on him. But yeah, so that was the main cause of my terrible week. So I did some calculations, and that Hewitt injury cost me 196 points, um, which actually probably would have helped me climb this round. So I probably would have gone to like the 700s, but 196 points. I'm not sure how much of a difference that would make from this rank, but I'm pretty sure it would have climbed me to 700 because um, I would have scored 2,381, which was probably above par. Um, but yeah, so yeah, I was gonna target top 500 or top 400 this year, but I don't think that's happening. I think the best I can do is just climb back to 800, and yeah. So that's what happened this week. Yeah, so my trades were horrendous, and then to top it off, to finish off the week, Carmichael was the medical sub ahead of Oliver Henry and Tyler Brown. So it messed up my loop, and I didn't have time to switch him. I probably would have brought Cully on for him. So an 85 and an 87 sitting on my forward bench while Carmichael's 32 was on my field. Yeah, it's so annoying. But yeah, that's life, I guess. So yeah, and then also not getting Steele also screwed up my captain plan. So in the last video, I'm pretty sure I had Brayshaw going into steal. That was my plan all week. And then, yeah, so we all know what Steele scored. He scored 154, something like that. So, yeah, I lost 36 points just from the captaincy decision that resulted from Hewett being out. Yeah, after Hewett was out, I also considered Laird, but I actually don't know why I didn't go with him. I had him as captain originally, but then like an hour before the game, I switched it to Mills, and yeah, I just dug a deeper hole for myself. So literally everything went wrong this week. My loops went wrong, my captaincy decision, my trades. Yeah, it was just a horror week, and I hope I never experience anything like this again. Yeah, so Mills is my captain. I mean, it's alright. Like, early on, it seemed like it was a terrible decision. He was on. I'm pretty sure he was on, like, 5 late into the first quarter, but he managed to junk up in a couple of quarters and save his score. The only things that went right this week were a couple of big, relatively big premium scores. So, Doherty, he saved his score. He scored like 40, 50 points in the last quarter, just from junking it, which was typical Sam Doherty. Yeah, I think Dawson did the same. He copped the tag, I think, and then got released from it, and then ended up scoring a ton, which was very good. Yeah, Sinclair. I really didn't want to get him this week because West Coast are tough for defenders, and I knew that he wouldn't have a ceiling game at least. I thought he would have ton, but 88, I'm not surprised because the ball was in the St Kilda attacking half for most of the game. Yeah, obviously Rory Laird just keeps getting it done with these high scores, and I don't know why I ever doubted him with the captaincy. He has Carlton this week though, so I'm still doubting him even after that. But yeah, Brayshaw is just such a disappointment. Like I should have gone Steele over Brayshaw 2 weeks ago. Or yeah, last week. Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. That was actually a terrible decision by me. And then Miller was also good. Merritt also good without Parrish, but Parrish is probably back this week, so not sure what that does to Merritt. I think it will impact him. McRae also started really badly, I'm pretty sure, and then managed to save his score in the second half when he started carrying the Bulldogs to the win. Neil has just, yeah, he's been horrendous the past few weeks. I'm not sure if he copped the tag this week, but I'm pretty sure he's definitely getting attention every single game now, which is quite unfortunate. And I'm not even going to talk about Petrarca. I don't want to look at his face. Darcy Cameron, yeah. I mean, at least he's relatively, 15%. I mean, at the top, he's relatively highly owned, so I'm not too mad, but that is very, very disappointing. 4 touches. Yeah, that's quite a bad effort. Just seemed like Cox was playing rock for most of the game, from what I heard. Darcy, Darcy is just so bad, and I want to trade him ASAP, but I have so many other issues right now because of Hewett. So I think I have to hold him for at least another week. Canelio, I think he's being impacted by Hopper, so yeah. And then Taranto and Hopper pushed him out of the midfield. And then Kelly back probably quite soon. It's going to impact him even more. English was very good though, so I'm very happy with English. He did this against Gawn and Jackson. Managed to take quite a few marks. Yeah, obviously less hit outs because of Gawn, but yeah, very happy with English. Dunkley, Uh, I'm pretty sure he started really slowly as well. Managed to salvage a ton. Parker, very good. Haven't seen a decent score from him for ages. Um, yeah, since round 10. Um, but yeah, good to see him break the 110 barrier again late in the season. Brody, pretty good. Turned up, which is good against Richmond. Um, yep. And yeah, yeah, I don't want to talk about that. So, um, yeah, let's just move on to next round because I don't want to look at this anymore. Um, yeah, so this round, yeah, my captaincy, like, I'm neglecting Laird again because he's against Carlton. Um, but I feel like he could, yeah, he's probably going to go 120 again, but there are so many good matchups this week, so fantasy friendly matchups for my players and other players outside of my team as well. So Steele has Hawthorn, so he's either got to be my vice captain or my captain. But yeah, I think he'll score more than Led this week, so he's got my vice captain. Merritt is also a very good option against North Melbourne last game of the round, so he's a C option. And Miller has West Coast, and we all know what happened last week. Steele went 154 against West Coast, and then Crouch went 147. I'm pretty sure. So, yeah, definitely Miller C. I'm pretty sure. I think. Um, but yeah, who does Mills have? Yeah, GWS. He's not an option. Brayshaw's a fraud. So, completely ignoring him this week. But yeah, these top four, my M1 to M4 uh, will be in contention for the captaincy and vice captaincy. But this is what I'm going to stick with for now. Um, yeah. Also Sinclair against Hawthorn, but I'm pretty sure he'll get tagged by Finn McGuinness. But also might go to Hill. But I think the risk is too great when you have the likes of Steele, Led, Zez, and Miller with fantasy friendly matchups this week. So, yeah, I'm not gonna consider Sinclair. Um, yeah, so that's my potential captaincy options. I don't think I'll be looping and emergency looping anyone this week. I'm a bit scarred from what happened a few days ago. But yeah, I have to hold Jed another week, I think. Which is not good. Oh, I think I forgot to mention my trades. So my trades were Petrarca to Steele and then Cameron to Marshall. Um, Cameron being out depends on Cox's injury, so he hasn't trained the last couple of days due to a virus reportedly. So um, if Cox is out and Grundy doesn't come in, then I'll hold Cameron and trade Anderson for Marshall. But yeah, my ins are probably locked in. Yeah, I just it's so hard getting Steele for that expensive when I could have got him last week, but it's all right. Yeah. So Petrarca definitely out because he has Fremantle this week, and I don't see him doing good against them. If he does, then I'll be pretty angry. But what can we do? I think I'll use yeah. So I'm just trying to figure out who I can loop this week. I'm gonna look at the fixtures for a second. So Port Adelaide are Saturday afternoon, so can't loop Skinner or Teakle. Butler. Butler plays the same game as Steele, so I can't loop him. Yeah, so looping. I'll have to wait for teams to see what I do with looping. Hopefully maybe Hoff gets dropped. I doubt it though, and yeah, actually I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with my looping. If I can't loop properly, then I'll probably captain probably vice captain Brayshaw. Yeah, I'll have to be Brayshaw if I don't have any looping options. But yeah, I think so. Move on to other trading targets for this week. I think Hall and Stewart are the defenders to target this week. Um, there aren't many good defenders this year, so it's pretty easy to pick who you should get. Um, yeah, so yeah, Stewart returning this week against Bulldogs at GMHBA Stadium is basically a lock for a ton. He could go 150 because um, his high ceiling games were both at GMHBA, I'm pretty sure. And Bulldogs give up a lot of points to defenders, so um, yeah. See, Brayshaw 126 against Bulldogs last week. Yeah, and then Hall, obviously on return he played quite well. Can't remember what he scored. It was a pretty good score, 122. So he's definitely an option if you want to take a risk. Or if you can't reach Stewart. But yeah, those two are definitely the two defensive targets this week. In the midfield, so Steele obviously still a target. Merritt, I'm not sure because Parrish is back soon. I don't know how that will impact him, but he does have North this week. He also has tough matchups in the next 2 weeks, so probably hold off on Merritt. Mills, uh, yeah, he's been very good last 3 weeks, so it seems like he's back in form and getting the correct role in the Sydney team. So if you need a top 8 midfielder, you should get him because he's got a pretty good run home. Oliver, obviously still hampered by the hand injury, but if you want a point of difference, a very reliable point of difference, you should get Clayton Oliver. Although he does have quite a tough run home. But yeah, he's a good point of difference, and obviously we all know what he can do. He was looking like being the M1 for this season, like mid-year. McCluggage, I'd say, is still an option if you want a POD, but I'd probably go Oliver over him. I'll move on to ruck targets. There are quite a few ruck targets this week. So, yeah, I'm bringing in Marshall. But for around the same price, you can also bring in Gorn, who scored 133, albeit against the English, who's easy to score against. He has Darcy, Grundy, Pitnet, and McInerney last four, so that's really tough. I'm not sure how Grundy will be as an opponent, but and Darcy's actually not that bad. But Pitnet and Oscar McInerney are pretty tough to score against. Usually, McInerney's prone to the odd bad game, but yeah, on paper it seems like a pretty tough matchup for Gorn. So yeah, I'll probably go Marshall over him. He has Max Lynch, I think. Oh no, Reeves, Ned Reeves. John Segler / Stanley here. McInerney, obviously tough, and then Hickey, who seems to be out of form. So he's been easier to score against lately. And then if you need a budget ruckman, Bruce is back and he scored a ton. We all know his game time issues, but he is a good option if you need a cheap ruckman. He has Hickey, Draper, English, and Darcy run home, so that's pretty easy. He honestly should average 90 plus, 95 plus for the rest of the season. 95 plus, I think. So as long as he doesn't get injured. So if you don't have the money to get to Marshall or Gorn or English, who is also a very good target. If you can't get any of those three, then I think Bruce is a pretty good option. But if you do have some DPP in your team, look to the forwards because the forwards are pretty stacked right now with options. Obviously, Bontempelli has been very good since the bye. Let me see his scoring here. He seemed to get over his pre-bye shoulder injury. I'm pretty sure it was. So yeah, he's been very good in recent weeks. So if you want a top forward, definitely get him. Bailey Smith, he's almost a guaranteed ton every week. So he'll probably be top 6 this week. I mean this year, for the rest of the year. So yeah, definitely consider him as well if you don't have him. And then Dylan Moore continues to get the midfield role that has spiked his scoring. So you can see here, last 5 weeks he's had 4 tons, and an 83. So yeah, he's a good tackler. Obviously, very very well-rounded player. Since he's a small forward graduating to the midfield. So if you want a point of difference there, he's a good choice. Just look at his matchups. Yeah, he's got pretty decent matchups. He should be good against the Suns and Richmond. St Kilda, depends on how St Kilda perform, and Bulldogs might be slightly tough, but yeah. Yeah, Moore should be pretty good. Probably top 8, top 10 forward for the rest of the season. But yeah, if you can reach Bailey Smith or Marcus Montempelli, then definitely get them over him. Unless you really need a point of difference. But yeah, that should do it for the round review and round preview for round 20. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. And I'll talk to you guys next week.